You know, what people don't know is we have had a holiday. Went to St Ives.
Really?
During this. Yeah, we had a holiday. We saw this, we watched this, and we went away for a week. It took us another week or so to get back into our marathon.
Oh.
But...
We went away?
Yeah. You don't remember? We went on holiday. With the dog. Oh, that's right, I drug you before we go places. What? Hi everyone, welcome back to Doctor Who Review.
That was a weird intro.
Yeah, that was odd. Why did you
Why did you start like that?
Because I wanted to point out why it's been so long for us in catching up. Normally when we record this, we have 2 of them in the can already. We usually record one on the eve of the first of the 2 stored ones going out. We're actually recording this on the day of season 10 going out. We're way behind. But it's because we went away for a week or so.
I actually thought you were doing a bit, that's why.
No, it wasn't a bit.
You were just so nonchalant and you didn't even say hi.
I thought, has work taken its toll on you that much since the holiday that you forgot we had one?
No, I just don't care.
About anything?
No.
Not even Doctor Who?
No.
Well, that's a shame because we're here to talk about Season 11, the classic series. For those who are new to this, we are 10 odd years into the show now. I'm Chris.
I'm not Chris.
And we are here to... Basically, if you're wondering why you can't see our faces, you've not really been able to in any of the episodes. This is more of a podcast, but some people like to have it on a tab in YouTube, so there's some visual element to it.
Ooh.
Yeah, think about... basically, it's like you're having a conversation with your friends who really love a sci-fi show, but you're a little too sleepy to actually be involved, so you're just sort of leaning on the table at elbow height.
Your friends shouldn't be over that late. You've got school in the morning. What are you doing?
That's you guys. This is a milestone video for many reasons. One being... It's the end of the Pertwee era.
It is.
Or the Pertwee era, as we never called it. And
never, ever.
I wish we had.
And never will.
Oh. And, so, that's why. So, last series of Pertwee. How did you feel going into this?
I did not realise that this was the last series, even though you told me multiple times.
Many times.
I was just so comfortable watching him now.
Rewind 3 series and you were like, he's alright, I guess.
Well, I thought he was on for much longer, so... Sorry, the dog's licking my leg.
That's alright. 4-ish years, 5 seasons.
Yeah, I thought he was... For some reason, I thought it was longer.
Well, longer than Pat and Bill.
Yeah.
He had a longer tenure than Pat and Bill. But I think probably that felt longer because those eras, it took us the better part of nearly a year to get through William and Pat, but that's mostly because those eras, those stories are like 6 episodes each.
Yeah, much longer.
The show was on for like 10 months of the year.
Arguably better?
What?
I'm saying that arguably
Oh, you prefer those?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not a fan of the shorter seasons?
No. I am.
Because this, of course, was on for like 5-ish months at a time.
Whoop.
Total. Max. And this season, you said this season felt short when we finished
This one did.
Yeah.
Like
Even though
season?
it's been the same as the last 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Last 4 seasons, of this one included, have been 5 stories each.
I guess because I enjoyed, like...
Time flies.
All of it, yeah.
When you're having fun.
Yeah.
Well,
most of it, anyway.
Oh, well, let's see with this series. 5 absolute classics in one definition or another. Let's begin. The Time Warrior. This is one of my favourites.
Is it really?
It is, and I shall tell you for why.
Go ahead.
Simple ass premise. Giant meteorite thing from the stars lands in a medieval village, and suddenly the armour-clad knight living inside demands the people's assistance to fix it in exchange for weapons.
Ooh.
And as we find out, like 20th century weaponry.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, hang on, what's going on here? Meanwhile, a bunch of scientists are disappearing from this conference centre, and the Doctor goes to investigate. And not only does he find a trail back to wherever they're being snatched out of time, but he is accidentally followed by a new character, journalist Sarah Jane Smith. I was trying to remember her auntie's name then that she uses as a pseudonym.
Yeah, the pseudonym, yeah.
Who's trying to get to the bottom of it as well and notices this Doctor's more than he seems. So this story's a cracker for several reasons. One, it's a really simple setting. It doesn't outlive the 4 episodes. Similarly, it also feels like it would suffer if it was longer than 4.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, it's just sort of the right length for it. We get introduced to Sarah Jane Smith, who I absolutely bloody adore, and we'll talk about how you feel about Sarah toward the end of the video.
Okay.
teaser there, everybody. But like it makes me happy to know that this is where her story begins. That really makes me happy. I think Liz Sladen's bloody wonderful in this, especially because she's like, what the hell?
What the hell is going on?
This doctor's clearly a villain. He's brought me back here. What's happening? What is this? And she like starts siding with the other kingdom. I think it's got three really entertaining villains. Lesser so Blood Axe, who's just sort of the dog's body, but it's still quite a good role. And the fact that he's called Blood Axe. Lynx, the first appearance of the Sontarans, and he's bloody excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And also, my favourite villain in the story, Iron
He
who's
goes
like
for it.
the lord of the castle. And
He is.
Oh my god, he's brilliant.
He is taking his sweet time.
A sweet ass time.
Just embracing that character completely.
I should probably pull up the cast list so I can short reference everybody. But you've got like the professor who doesn't fall under the mesmerism because he didn't bring his glasses.
He's not got his glasses.
So he's just sort of like, this is fascinating,
He's just
isn't
wandering around going, what's this?
He's just wandering about, which is brilliant.
It's fabulous.
The idea of Iron Grom like coming to grips with a musket, like a rifle, and teaching himself how to use
practice,
it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
The suit of armour. Sontaran builds him a crude robot, and is told that he's going to build him more. Like all of that stuff, I think is so much fun. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
I enjoyed it.
I am a big damn fan.
Mm-hmm.
Was this the one with Dot Cotton in it? It was like the lady of the other manor, and you were like, I recognise her. And then we looked her up, and it was like, oh, neither of us watch EastEnders, but everyone, let's face it, in the UK has a vague familiarity with Dot Cotton.
Yeah,
she's like Jack and Vera.
I've never ever watched it.
Yeah.
Never in my life have I watched. What is it? EastEnders.
She's from EastEnders.
Yeah,
Jack and Vera, Coronation Street.
Yeah. I don't really know the difference. Sorry.
June Brown. It's June Brown in the role. Yeah, the professor.
I still recognise
Professor was Professor Rubish. Oh, is it Professor Rubish? The Doctor gets to fight suit of armour, fights a Sontaran, fights some medieval soldiers. We have some battlement play with fake armies.
Is the suit of armour?
He pretends to be the suit of armour in the last episode. Sarah Jane kicks some ass, takes some names, gets kidnapped, gets hypnotised, gets screwed with, gets kidnapped out of her own time stream. And at the end of it, only really comes back with the Doctor, not because she's like, this is the good guy, but she's like, yeah, this is, I want to get home.
She kind of does it all in a stride as well, really.
Which is what's nice, because like Katie Manning settled in so well, and by the time Jo leaves, you don't want Jo to go. So to introduce just another Jo would be a bad call.
Yeah.
I think some stories this series do unfortunately just make Sarah companion, and that's the be-all and end-all of how she reacts to moments.
Right.
But in this story, she's got a really strong introduction. Because she just shows up, deals with it.
Yeah, she does.
And wants to get the bottom. Like she's a news hound. Mm-hmm. She's a hack. She wants to get to the bottom of the story.
She wants that story.
Yeah. What did you think of the Time Warrior?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was very good. I quite like the Sontarans.
Yeah.
In general. So seeing the first episode
Sontaran Lynx
was really,
the Ninth Sontaran
really cool.
Fleet. Yeah.
The fact that he's on his way to, he like fell out of the warp or something to get to his battle.
Yeah.
And now he needs to get back.
The Sontaran's ongoing war with the Rutan host.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And he looks like a burnt baked potato.
Yes, he does. Don't be happy. Don't be sad.
Was it? I love you, baked potato.
This is one of my favourite toys from the range as well.
Let's have a look.
It's the original. And the B&M have done a re-release of him with a weird like paint scheme since, but I love that.
Was it the end of the first episode or the beginning of the next one where he turns around, you see his face?
The cliffhanger of episode 1, he takes the helmet off. Yeah.
And for some reason, he does this weird tongue thing, and it's.
How dare you? It's sensual. Am I sexual?
No, you're a potato. But the thing is, this figure, probably won't be able to see it if I move it up to the camera, so I won't.
Hello.
He's doing the tongue thing.
He's doing the tongue thing.
It was very dramatic.
I don't do that tongue thing.
Oh my god! And then he did the tongue thing, and it was absolutely hilarious.
I don't do that tongue thing.
So yeah, you did that thing where you were kind of watching me as that was about to happen.
Because I couldn't wait to see what you.
And then I peed myself, and you were happy about it.
I love the design of the Sontarans.
I could have worded that.
This is my favourite look for them as well. Like, the only downside is because of the camera quality and how we're able to see it now, and obviously being more familiar with certain styles, you look at it and you go, that's a puffer jacket.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter though.
But if you remade that costume and that puffer jacket just looked a little more metallic, I think it would sell it, like, really well.
I think they did a good job with what they had.
The sculpt and the makeup and the blending into the mask are phenomenal. Like, he looks super, super cool and authentic. He doesn't look like a guy in a mask.
No, he doesn't.
Which is really, really
except
tough
the tongue
to
thing
nail.
when they zoomed in on his face. I'm sorry, that was great.
I know you're a fan of that. Gosh darn it. But I love the look of them here. I love the way they establish the idea that he's just like, I don't care what happens to this planet. He's like, I know weapons, so I'm exchanging weapons, easily mass-produced weapons, for the resources I need to power up my ship and get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And the Doctor's like, you don't understand, like, you're going to screw with history. Yeah. And he's like, I don't care.
I don't give
I just want to get back to the fight. And he's like, besides, don't you have to worry about it. When I leave, I'll probably blow up the entire castle just out on exiting the atmosphere. It's like, oh!
Doesn't he do that?
The castle still gets exploded, but they get everyone out. Apart from, I think, Irongra. But yeah, I love the design. I love how they introduced the probic vent on the back of the neck and how they explain it. Like, which is brilliant, which is almost verbatim explained in The Poison Sky in the modern era, like the idea
which is also a great episode.
Yeah, like that's the thing that sort of adjusts them to the atmosphere, that's what they breathe through, and it is on the back of their neck, because that means they forever have to face their enemies.
I just realised it's going to be really weird to go from a story is like at least 4 episodes to the modern era where it's 1 episode.
When we get to the modern era, we will be flying through season reviews. It's nuts. It's nuts.
That's not for a long time.
The 8th Doctor's one's going to take 1,000,000 years to do, though. Bloody hell.
I didn't think about it fully, did I? It's going to take so long.
The 8th Doctor's Paul McGann.
Yeah, I know.
So he's...
I know.
It's just one.
I know.
Okay.
I know. I was trying to join in.
When we get to the War Doctor's era, it's going to... Oh, God. Anyway, that was a Time Warrior. I still adore this story so freaking much. Did you like it?
I did enjoy it.
That's a good swine.
I like the costumes.
Sign. Good sign. I wasn't calling you a swine.
You did call me.
Free swine. Speaking of swines, link doesn't work. So, how did I prepare you for this story? Do you remember what I kept telling you it was going to be?
I said I'm looking forward to it, and you laughed and went, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "Uh-oh, it's gonna be good." Minnie Moo, hey.
Go on, Min. Please explain to the ladies and gentlemen what the plot of Invasion of the Dinosaurs was. Dinosaurs
keep cropping up around town. Oh, no, they arrive back in London, don't they? And they're like...
a key point within a certain radius in central London.
And they wait for a bus and one doesn't come. And they're really confused about it, aren't they? So they manage to find...
They think they've arrived at like 4 in the morning or something, don't they? Because it's just super quiet.
And they manage to find a car, don't they? So they kind of... Do they hotwire
it? No, they nick a car off of a bunch of guys who harass them and try and arrest them.
Oh yeah, and one of them meets an untimely end.
Untimely demise.
I know they said unlikely end, but anyway. And they end up seeing dinosaurs, don't they? And UNIT are like, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, you've been gone for 3 months, you two. Like, we presumed you dead. So it turns out that there is something in the middle of London that Sarah deduces. Sarah figures it out.
Yeah.
She cracks all the clues.
She cracks the code,
she's a real Velma Dinkley. Sarah figures out that it's someone underground, and it's based on the underground base is keeping them hidden, and the base was a prototype for one they were going to develop in general in case of nuclear holocaust or fallout, things like that.
Yeah.
And it's these scientists and activists who believe the Earth has screwed itself over, and the only way to reverse the effects is to bring everything back.
Mm-hmm.
So bring it back and swap round. Then once they've cracked the time travel, like pinpointing time travel, which they test by bringing dinosaurs back from that era, what they're going to do is they're going to reset the planet to that time.
Yeah.
Except for like the central bunker where they will keep this bastion of people, this group of people that they have screened, who they believe will help profit. They're either rich people who've got their ways into the program, or people they believe will help. and they've all been tricked and misled and quite possibly brainwashed into thinking that they are travelling to space to a new world, because they knew that if they knew the reality that they are going to erase all existence on the planet by reversing Earth's time, these people wouldn't agree to it.
Yeah.
So it's a lie within a lie.
Kind of a Thanos thing going on.
Yeah, it's nuts. It is proper nuts.
That was a big one.
So, and of course, the scariest part of all that is Mike is working with them.
Yates!
Yates is frickin' working with them. So, this sounds pretty exciting, boys and girls. Like, betrayal, subterfuge, time travel, discussions about population,
Dinosaurs.
the future of the Earth, dinosaurs. You know, like, this should be really gripping stuff. Like, Sarah Jane gets taken to space against her will.
To go to a colony kind of thing, yeah.
At one point, the Doctor and Sarah Jane are locked in a garage. Or a garage.
A garage! Ooh, fancy.
Attacked at close proximity by a bloodthirsty pterosaur. At one point, the army have to hold off a T-Rex smashing through a broken building.
Bullets don't do anything.
Bullets do sod all. Like, the hides are too thick. There's some scary stuff going on in here. However, what was the problem with Invasion of the Dinosaurs, Lou?
The dinosaurs looked like, sorry, I was eating Skittles. You know when you go on holiday to, like, Cyprus, and there's a shop inside of your hotel that sells toys that are off-brand. So you've got off-brand dinosaurs.
Like this one.
Yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
That you've left out in the sun for a little too long.
Like the sort of dinosaur that you put in a bowl of water and it grows like a couple of inches.
Yeah, and then to be really imaginative, your dad attaches strings to it so it looks like it's flying, and like you can launch it at windows to scare people, and you can go ah 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 ah. That's what that is.
Were there any good shots of dinosaurs?
I
think the pterosaur's head at the window of the car was like creepy because it's probably 2 feet.
And then it went ah.
Ruined by the fact that it's clearly just someone's just making the sound on the day, and they've used that.
It's very funny. It's very like really half-assed, as if they were eventually going to cover it, like dub it.
Do you know what it made me think of? Weirdly, it made me think of Buffy, because in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the growl, the snarl of the vampires, like the signature noises, the breaths and the grunts, are made by recordings of lions played in reverse.
Oh, in reverse?
Yeah, they sort of like tweak the sound a bit, so it sounds otherworldly but familiar.
That's cool.
And that's them going, right, these vampires need to snarl. So we could, from day one, they could have just had the actors be like, but they decided, no, we're gonna make a noise.
See?
Yeah, nice. We're gonna make a noise, and like they developed it, and that's really cool. Here, Jeffrey, could you go rah a bit? Here up.
It's like if they kept
Jeffrey.
It's as if they kept in...
The radiophonic workshop were probably in another building going, the hell are you doing? We had to come up with a way to record a key scraping down piano wire to make your spaceship noises.
That's very cool.
Why are you just going rar?
What's the name of the actor that plays Han Solo? I completely forgot his name.
Harrison Ford.
That's as if they just left Harrison Ford to go bang, bang, bang when he's solo.
Bang. Who would here try to start a riot? I
don't remember him doing that.
It would have been remarkable.
And I was there.
Solo would have been improved had it had the soundtrack of Into the Spider-Verse.
That's another episode.
I don't hate this story because its weakest points are just things I enjoy laughing at.
Oh yeah.
And that is still enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's got some great stuff. Mike's betrayal as well. Like, they only sort of suggest it really in the bonus material that he's been affected since the events of the Green Death last series, when Boss got a hold of him, the computer, and turned him a traitor.
Squiddled his mind.
The idea is that his brain's more malleable, more susceptible, and as a result he sees the mission of these people, and he was the unit officer who sort of started to investigate it, and as a result ended up coming over to their side. Mm-hmm. It's not really explained in this. It's just like, oh my god, Mike. But they do a beautiful job of signalling that it's going to happen earlier on when he's talking to him about the ethics of it all, and he's like, you know, I wish he sent to Sarah Jane like, I kind of like it now. I kind of like London now that we've evacuated it. Like, it's just peaceful.
Doesn't she say it's cleaner?
I feel like I can breathe. It's cleaner. Yeah. So you sort of when he said that first time I saw this, you're like, he's involved in this somehow, isn't he? The moment the environmental stuff comes up, you're like, oh, Yates is involved in this somehow. But it's still a nice sort of like moment when it first happens, and you feel the tension when he pulls a gun on the bridge.
Yeah.
You're like, what the hell? Also, the Brigadier. 2 stories in. We've had a little bit of him in the last one. We've had a lot more of him in this one. This is the most Brigadier-heavy story of the series.
What's that little smirk?
You love him, don't you?
Love him.
You bloody love him. What did you think of Invasion of the Dinosaurs? Did you love it?
I enjoyed it because it was ridiculous.
Fantastic. I'll
I mean,
buy
I've got
that
to
for
say,
$1.
there was many good moments, but, well, anyway, there was a good moment where the dinosaur is in the garage for the aeroplanes.
Oh yes, the
hangar.
The shred.
Not the garage.
That's great.
And the
every time someone stood next to it, it looks rubbish. But every time you see the wide shot of the T-Rex chained down in the warehouse, it looks really cool.
Because it's breathing.
Yes.
You can see it's breathing. It was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then Sarah goes in, and it's like, oh, that dinosaur is smaller than you think. Get out of there, Sarah.
Well, Boo.
Yeah.
It's time to explore another
Party?
colony story, you see. See, it turns out there's a... There's some studying to be done on Exelon. Join Dan Galloway, Richard Railton, Jill Tarrant, Peter Hamilton and Commander Stewart as they head into the wacky adventures on Exelon. It's a Terry Nation script. This is Death to the Daleks.
Bloody hell.
Basic premise for the story is really cool. Here's the basic premise broken down. The TARDIS is going somewhere, the Doctor's taking Sarah Jane somewhere, the TARDIS stops with Exelon, goes horribly wrong, they have to perform an emergency landing, and then her systems are dead. And they don't understand what the hell's going on. So they go out and decide to try and investigate. Turns out, whilst they're there, there's also a downed-earth expedition ship that's buggered up as well because of everything. And the secret to whatever the signal is that's ruining things may or may not be in a tower in the ancient sort of like abandoned city of the Exelons. The Exelons are these creatures that live in a tribe, and they're very sort of tribal and traditional, and sacrifices and all that sort of stuff. But there's also a society of them living deep underground, which are different, a little more intellectual, a little bit more open to help and communication. Mm-hmm. Problem is, the Daleks also arrive because they want to mine something from Exelon that will help them in developing their weapons. So the Daleks are back, but once they arrive, their power shuts down too, including their weapons. They can move, they can traverse, but they can't fire. And as the Doctor points out pretty early on in the story, you have nothing to argue with now. Like, we're not going to obey you. They're shouting, obviously, like, you know, you will obey. And they're like, no. Like, no, you have nothing. Like, all you can do now is team up with us to figure out how to turn this power off. And then, of course, it's the ticking time bomb of, will they do it in time and escape the Daleks, or will they be able to thwart the Daleks before they get their power back? Like, you know, it's an interesting dynamic. Daleks and the Doctor and these scientists working together to solve a problem reluctantly as a team, whilst these cave-dwelling tribes and then the ones underneath like get involved. A cool idea. It's a Terry Nation script though, and one thing you really don't like is Terry Nation scripts. They're all the same. How are they all the same? Because they're on a planet where there's a colony, there. Or explorers. Explorers, right? Okay. It's either a colony of stuff with explorers, it's a tribe. It's a load of white men, and they're both parts. A load of white men in jumpsuits that have very posh English accents, and there might be a woman or two. Token gal, definitely. And then the Daleks turn up because they're mining for something, and then they take this colony of people prisoner, and there's always another species on the planet that is of lesser intelligence who the Daleks take advantage of. What else is there on the planet, usually, that serves for one or two interesting scenes randomly out of nowhere? There's always usually a creature or a plant or something. Yeah. In this case, it was that big like tendril
Yeah,
in the water.
From
It looked
War
like, like the probe from the 2005 War of the Worlds, the one that looks around the apartment. Around the ruins of the house.
You could definitely not see the wire that it was attached to.
Now, give it credit. It looked and moved pretty good.
It did.
So wire be damned.
But as soon as it started...
It's not the main story in this series where you can see a lot of wires jiggling something as it talks, but we'll get to that one.
I thought you ended this story. And so we got like partway through the first episode, and I lost interest completely.
You turned round to me at the end of episode 1, you went, "Who's the guy who created the Daleks?" I went, "Davros." You went, "In real life?" I went, "Terry Nation." You went, "Did he write this one?" I was like, "Yes." And you went, "They're all the same. They're all the same." I was like, "What do you mean?" You were like, "It's just, they're on a desert. That's the only difference. It's a desert, not a jungle. That's the only difference." And I went, "Yeah, but they've got to work together. Look, I at least managed to get you into the first 5 minutes of episode 2 where you heard the premise of the setup. But you went, "Can we take a break from this one?"
No,
and I went,
I
like tonight? And then you said, "Actually, can we skip it?"
I said, "Can we skip it?" Now, I just want to reiterate that I suggested we start this marathon because it's something that you're very passionate about, and I wanted to know as much about it as I possibly could. Oh, excuse you, Luna.
I picked up on the microphone.
Oh, well, Luna just meowed. And the dog has gone to find her. Wrong way, silly dog. Anyway, and so
this is your mission. I'm your co-pilot on this. You're the doctor. I'm the companion on this.
And I was like, I can't do it. And when you'd say, "Right, okay, let's watch an episode of Doctor Who tonight," I was like, no, I can't think of anything worse to do right now because this story is so boring.
But when I pointed out it's only 4 episodes, you're already 1 and a bit in. We'll come back to it in a couple nights' time.
In my head, I was like, please, no.
Are you glad we finished it, though?
Please. Yes, because I don't have to watch it again.
What did you take from this story that you actually liked?
1 second.
You liked Bilal.
Bilal, that's it.
That way leads to death. You liked him.
He was cute.
Yeah, isn't he? He's sort of like creepy and then adorable.
Yeah.
It's like Gurgi.
No, Gurgi's not adorable.
Or Dobby.
Gurgi. Yeah, he's like Dobby.
Yeah.
Gurgi's not adorable.
Gurgi's
he's very
adorable.
Selfish and very irritating. And he knows it, which is the worst
He's like
thing.
a fizzgig. Well, fizzgigs are adorable and then they open their mouth and you go, "Oh, that's creepy."
They're quite cute.
Is that a pterodactyl?
Oh.
But are you glad you watched it in the end?
Yeah, well...
What stuff did you like? Bilal?
Bilal.
Did you like the temple, the palace that was full of the weird little puzzles, which obviously people had died never being able to figure it out? And the doctor looks at them and it's like, "That's a maze. That's just a drawn maze on a wall. We just follow the maze." And Bilal's like, "But it's ancient symbols." And it makes you realise that, oh my god, that's right. Simple frickin' puzzles for us to another species could be this weirdly complicated riddle that's unsolvable. I thought that was a really cool idea.
I liked Bilal.
What about the Daleks halfway through the story figuring out how they can take charge? What did you think of that? The clue is that thing there.
I liked Bilal.
Oh my god, you didn't like the Daleks with machine guns?
Honey, I'm sorry. I'm going against the grain. I'm so over Daleks. I really am.
Did you not think it was cool when they were like, 2 of them rock up and it's like, why are they all Mr. Big Billy Bollocks all of a sudden? And then they shot an Exelon.
Yeah.
With a bullet.
They had guns.
With a bullet. They shot him with a bullet. That's pretty cool.
Oh my god, we're not even talking about how scary the Axelons are.
The Exelons.
Axel.
They are pretty freaky looking.
They're like cloth with a face.
Unlike Lynx with with an ingratiated face, they're just kind of a death mask of horribleness.
Don't get me wrong, they're very stupid. Not like intelligence wise, but the costume and the way that they walked and stuff, they were very stupid.
But you what did you think compare them to the ones underground, the subdued greyer ones? Were they actually quite good, do you think? Or like Bilal?
I liked Bilal.
Okay. Death to the Daleks. Lucy liked Bilal. End of the review. That way leads to thumbs up.
Oh, he was cute that way.
Yeah. Oh,
he didn't die, did he?
That's the story where I think Sarah Jane's role is kind of reduced to
I don't remember
over the
Sarah
course
Jane
of
being in it. Oh, she was kidnapped. She was
Kidnapped by the X-Lons and being sacrificed, yeah.
Oh, what a very damsel in distress thing.
Well, she definitely takes charge in this. In fact, this entire story is about Sarah Jane encouraging a queen to actually wake up and take hold of some female empowerment.
Yeah, mate.
We return to Peladon in the Monster of Peladon, another sequel story during the Jon era.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm sad.
We visited Peladon last series, of course, with the Curse of Peladon, where a kingdom was being manipulated into believing their ancient god ARGH was angry with the way they were doing business with the Galactic Federation, who wanted to sort of assimilate Peladon into their government for better.
EU.
EU. Well, that was the story, and the idea was the homegrown resistance, but the young king was like, no, like, this could be a benefit. But I trust you, my advisor.
You're all set in your own ways.
And the evil vizier is, of course, like, my apologies, and all that shit. But and there was the story, and it turned out it was all a lie. The ARGH image was being manipulated, and there was a beast beneath the catacombs of the city, which ARGH is based on, which the Doctor finds and subdues.
Karoon, Karoon, Karoon.
We have been singing that non-stop for 2 months.
Yes, and I'm not angry about that.
And in that story, stuff happened. Jo nearly marries a space king, which was foreshadowing for later in the series, where she would actually kind of find love.
I mean, we can't talk about Jo. I'm still sensitive.
We're talking about Jo in the next story.
God damn it!
What? Good, damn it!
Seven.
I
don't even watch it.
So, he's not been on it for a while. So,
really?
Yeah. So in this one, it's a sequel in that we return to Peladon, but it turns out it's actually a generation later. The Galactic Federation, is that what they're called? I can't remember now. They are represented by an ambassador, which is Alpha Centauri, who is still working with the Peladons.
And not aged a day!
Well, the last story being about the scepticism of Britain joining the EU, timely. This one is about the miners' strike of the early 70s. It's about unions, it's about fighting and pushing against power when you feel you've been unjustly wronged.
Yes.
But it also is a story of betrayal and subterfuge, because it turns out that the representative who's there to help it all work and help mine the thing that the Galactic Federation wants a bit more of is working for a paymaster further up the chain who are trying to incite these riots on Peladon so they have an excuse to send in more troops, kill a lot of the workforce, and take what they can, and then leave Peladon behind.
And create martial law.
Yeah, well, they come down and use martial law to stomp all over it. Because it turns out that the thing Sarah Jane sees in the catacombs is real. There is indeed another species at play here. Which was quite cool, because the last time we went to Peladon, we met very many delegates of the Federation and the Galactic Council, and one of them was an ice warrior, an ice lord. And it was like, oh my god, it's an ice warrior! And the Doctor's reaction is immediately sort of like, whoa! And then it's like, oh no, I'm the good guys. Oh, great, this is in the future from the other stories I've been in. Yeah, well, in that case, you explain to them what the Ice Warriors are doing in this one. Well, I let the cat out.
The Ice Warriors? What do you mean?
What was the Ice Warriors' role in this story?
They were stirring up trouble. That's what they were doing.
Trouble with a capital T.
Trouble. Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, now there's a circus in the house. You'll probably hear barking in a second.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, they were stirring up trouble, weren't they?
Trouble with a capital T. I'm going to stop there. So, yeah, there's an Ice Lord, which is played by the same actor, but the makeup's better. A year later, in that first episode, costume for him is definitely better.
Yeah, in that first episode, though, you forgot the breathing thing.
Yes, he did. But it turns out there's an Ice Lord involved in the council now who is trying to take advantage of the council to get supplies.
No.
Whether or not they don't outright say whether or not he's doing it for his own reasons. Like, he's not doing it for, like, Mars or, like, the Ice Warriors will do that. He's just like, I'm sick of this. We're going to mine this place and take its resources.
I want what you got.
Yeah. So it's not like the Ice Warriors are the villains. It's there's an Ice Lord with the Galactic Council who's taking advantage of this planet's descent to mine it and get himself brownie points. So he's a villain, but it's not like, we will take over. It's, this is getting annoying. Do you know what? To make it easier on us and the bosses, let's just wipe them out, take all the supplies and clear off.
Just do it. Do it.
But yeah, he's creepy as hell. I like the advisor. What's his name? I'll pull his name up because he had a great name. Because we get sort of a reverse of last series' relationship between the king and his advisor. This time, it's Chancellor Ortron. This time, Chancellor Ortron actually has noble intentions. He's just a bit sort of uneasy with change. Mm-hmm. And he's definitely in the wrong, but he's not doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And this time, it is the daughter of the king from the last serial, and it's Queen Thalera, who was freaking great, actually.
She was good.
She was really good. She's played by an actress called Nina Thomas. Then, of course, you had Gebek and Etis, who were the two sort of leaders of the miners who were at war with each other. Gebek had a more cool head. And
the badger hair.
I said, oh my god, it's the cast of Cats. And you went, no, do you remember that peanut butter in America?
There's a type of peanut butter that's got jam in it, and then on the jar is like striped because of the peanut butter and the jam. I don't know what it's called.
But it's peanut butter with jam in it.
Because it's gross, let's be honest. And it looked just like that. And every time I saw it, I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Whereas I just was like, marble cake. Or McCavity, there's no one like McCavity. There's lots of them down here. Quite a few.
Cats.
Agador keeps appearing. People think it's the Wrath of Agador. So again, it's being used to incite... thanks, Luna. Knocking the trapper.
Nah.
Again, Agador's being used to incite fear and suspicion and superstition. But now we know that it's because the Ice Warriors were utilising it through the help of... What's his bloody name? Eckersley. Who's the scientist who's like, no, I'm here to help, this, that, and the other.
Baker.
And he looks like a young Tom Baker. It's really weird. And yet, we're one story away from a young Tom Baker, so, like, how did that happen?
Once you said it, I couldn't unsee it.
Yazan Churchman returned as the voice of Alpha Centauri. Were you happy to see Alpha Centauri back? Do you legit like Alpha Centauri, or do you ironically love Alpha Centauri?
No, I think it's a really good costume.
Yeah.
I think it's a great alien costume.
I think the limitations of the design... Luna... The limitations of the design suffer more and become more apparent in this story because Alpha is in every episode, in every other scene. Yeah. Whereas in Curse of Peladon, Alpha Centauri is,
going to be pointing at the floor in a second.
Alpha Centauri is, of course... Our cat is rubbing her face on the tripod.
Are you happy? Do you like it?
Alpha Centauri is, of course, in the last one, used sparingly like the other members of the council in the last one. Like little Skullhead and a jar dude and everything. But I think the performance can't be faulted. They're adorable. Stuart Fell is the physical performer for the role. Azaxia was the name of the Ice Lord. That was it, wasn't it? It's a great name. But the Ice Warriors are a twist. Did you know they were going to be in the story?
No.
But you saw Peladon. You saw Agador being referenced, and you saw Alpha, and you went, yeah, we're here again.
Yeah.
Did you just forget the Ice Warriors were part of its history?
No, I didn't forget it. I just...
The story doesn't give you any indication that they're part of it, and then they rock up at like the end of episode 3 or episode 4.
And then you go, of course.
Of course.
So they were good guys in the last
Sarah, it's the Martians. My favourite scene in this is when Sarah Jane is talking to the Queen and basically saying like...
Girl power.
Because it's the whole thing of like, but I'm just a girl, we would do this, that and the other. And she's like, who the hell told you that? You're Queen. Mm-hmm. Like, just a girl be damned. You are Queen. You don't listen to anyone else if you don't have to. And it's brilliant because she's sort of like, yeah, she got a point there. Like, and this is the 70s, so, you know, women have always faced hardships in various ways and shapes and forms over the decades. Mm-hmm. But, like, the 70s is still sort of different from now. There's still prejudices, there's still sort of expectations, there's still, you know, biases and everything. So I think, because again, this is a kid's show, guys, there's a pretty damn good scene to put in there and not played as preachy at all, is it? It's just like...
Not even a little bit.
She's not like, girl, you gotta work on yourself. She's just like, no, here's the facts. You're the Queen. Why do you have to wait around for the people to tell you what to do? Mm-hmm. And even if you were just a girl, why do you have to wait around for the people to tell you what to do? And it's like, damn, Sarah, you great. She's great in this. She gets a lot to do. When she thinks the Doctor's dead, because he is momentarily killed, and then he reveals he sort of put himself into a mini coma, to just deal with it and get through it. The entire scene... For God's sake, Luna. The entire scene of the Doctor basically disabling a house alarm is quite funny.
What?
The Doctor basically disabling a house alarm. That the thing like the device outside the chamber that was like giving everyone a mental attack.
Yeah.
It's basically just like opening a circuit box and having a little tweak with it. Like, there we go. Especially because it's like, where could it be? And then you see it, and it's so obvious where it is. It's just this big box on the side of the wall. So yeah, what did you think of the Monster of Peladon?
I enjoyed it. It was nice to go back. Yeah, I liked all the characters. I liked that Alpha Centauri was in it. Look at all of that. Animal. Look, these are our daughters. We have one more. She's somewhere in the house.
Behaving.
Anyway, what did you think, Luna?
That's what Luna thinks.
Well, that's just inappropriate.
What a bitch. There. That's the bitch.
How many episodes was this?
It was a 6-episoder.
Yeah, it did drag it in a couple of places.
But I think it was just because this one was quite tight, so it sort of feels odd.
Yeah.
But
no, I enjoyed it. I liked. See, I didn't think that I'd like that the story was so similar. You're stuck on me now. Right? 1 second. Oh,
would you?
Can you just grab it?
The dog caught you.
Oh god.
Oh god. Hi everyone. This review is being hijacked by animals being dicks.
Wins.
Would you return to Peladon?
Yes.
Well, guess what? We never go back. Yeah.
You excited me then. That was not
sorry.
fair.
But the legacy of Peladon does live on because it reappears. A certain character from this story reappears in a modern story and sets up the events of the Curse of Peladon. Sorry, Minnie. Just clocked you with the DVD box. And finally, I hope no one out there is arachnophobic.
Even if you were, it wouldn't really matter.
Because this one's all about crabs. Yeah. Planet of the Spiders.
The Spitters.
Where do we begin? So, this is Jon's last story. It's the last story of the Unit era.
Mm-hmm.
Unit will continue to play a presence in the next 2 series, but as you can probably tell from this series and the last, they were really starting to get bored of the setting they'd created and were experimenting more with interplanetary travel again.
Which I'm all for.
I mean, you forget.
Just take the Brigadier with you.
You forget the beautiful noise of the TARDIS, don't you? Until you hear it again, like last series and stuff, and you're like, oh, there she is! You don't realise how much you've missed it.
I was worried that at the beginning of the series that it would just be Unit. On Earth, Unit.
Well, you don't have to worry about that again.
Not series, I mean Doctor.
Alright, okay. Well, no, it starts that way and then it starts to branch out.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 Doctors sort of signifies the definitive end of his exile. But obviously the Time Lords send him on a couple missions before that, like in Calling in Space and whatnot.
Yeah.
What didst thou think of Planet of the Spiders overall? Give us a general blanket idea. As a unit story, because it's very much a unit-style story.
Mm-hmm.
Even if Benton and the Brigadier do take sort of a backseat after the first episode.
That was weird. At first I thought it was a bit all over the place. I didn't really know what was going on. I can't remember how it started.
Try to explain the plot. It begins with the Doctor and the Brigadier going to watch a noted psychic.
Yes! Oh, no. First there was an exotic dancer.
Yes, there was.
And the Brigadier gave a cheeky eyebrow raise.
Like, well, I suppose we should teach some of those moves to the men. It's like, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that it was like a variety show. So there was a comedian, then there was an exotic dancer.
A crap comedian, because they're both reacting with just like, ugh. Whilst everyone around them was laughing.
But then there was a scientist, and I was like, what the hell kind of show is this? What's happening?
But I know that it was research, but isn't it wonderful to think that in the time that he spent in that exile, they've got to the point where they're like, well, do you want to come along and watch it with me?
They're
and then they've gone on a night out
Aww.
to redo this research together.
The Brigadier does know joy.
And he's a snappy dresser too.
There's a scientist, and the doctor's like, I'm wondering, I want to see this guy.
Well, he's a psychic, isn't he? He's like, he fortune teller skills and all that. And the doctor's like, right, so, it's all conjuring and stuff, isn't it? And the guy's like, yes, I'm afraid it is. And he's like, yeah, but it's not though, is it?
Yeah,
so the reason I wanted to talk to you is because I have reason to believe that you actually have something to do with telepathy and psychokinesis. And that's why I wanted to talk to you. So you think, is it going to be a story about that? No. It is about mental power and intelligence and skills developing through mental manipulation. But that's one byproduct of the focal item of this storyline, the Metabilis crystal.
There's a crystal.
So what happens? What happens? The guy is witnessing stuff and seeing things, and then he gets hold of the crystal, which is sent back to them, and he dies because he sees something is coming. Something is out there, something powerful and terrifying, and it basically dies of fright in the machine.
Essentially, yeah.
How do they get the crystal?
Well, Benson comes in. Benton! Which one is it?
Benton. We've had a running joke where Lucy says, "Oh, look, it's Benson." I mean Benton. Benson's the
Benson.
one. Benson's his twin, or things like that.
Because
and
I got
it's got
it
to the
wrong.
point now where you keep calling him Benson.
I know,
you
it's
bring him up.
Benton.
Sergeant Benton.
Sergeant Benton.
Captain Yates.
Gets a...
Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart.
And the Doctor. Damn it. I was so close. They get a package, and it was addressed to Captain Yates.
Wait, is it
Not Captain
addressed to the
Yates,
Doctor?
sorry.
Or
What is it?
to the Doctor, or Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, or Captain Yates, or Sergeant Benton.
Benton! God's sake!
Because the parcel's been sent from
Joe
Grant! Katie gets to make an impact on the story one more time before
Yay.
John leaves the show.
I love that.
In the
Careful,
form of
please, guys.
pets wrestling with the camera tripod.
Jeez.
In the form of her sending back the crystal, because
No.
apparently
Don't
one of the
trip it
tribes that they're talking to along the Amazon,
No.
one of the
God,
village
that's
settlements,
what's gonna happen, sorry.
involves a... Oh god, they're fighting under the tripod.
Jesus.
Involves a... Did you grab the dog?
Come in. Hey, get out of it.
I could edit this out, but I'd rather not. It involves a shaman and whatnot said, like, seriously, I'm getting horrible vibes from that crystal.
From this, yeah.
Get rid of it. And the Doctor, of course, had left it to them as like a good luck thing.
Mm-hmm.
So she sends it back, and indeed it sends the psychic into a horrible tizzy and kills him because he sees what's after it. Turns out, the Doctor took the crystal from Metabilis 3 in the Green Death, as we saw last series, with giant plastic bird feet. And the special hiring of a snake for one shot, and all that blue
That
light.
was an interesting
Yes.
scenario.
And it says that the Doctor took that crystal because he wanted to learn. Like, he knows that it's about expanding the mind, and they've been known to increase intelligence.
Yeah.
So he took it, not thinking of the consequences of that, because now Metabilis 3 is a good couple of centuries on. And in that duration, the life of the villages and stuff there have been overridden because a certain species arrived on an Earth colony ship, which was a spider, or some spiders. The spiders settled within the mountains where the blue crystals came from, and over the course of a few centuries they have evolved into intelligent beings. Mm-hmm. They're about the size of a big cat. They speak. They can shoot deathly lightning from their face. And they have psychic abilities, and it's all come from them being around the crystals. Mm-hmm. Specifically, one of them in particular, the Great One.
Perfect.
All hail the Great One! Praise to the Great One! The Great One has turned them into this powerful species that have now dominated Metabilis. So any villages and settlements are ruled over by the spiders and tribesmen that they have basically mentally manipulated into being their soldiers. Mm-hmm. They call themselves Eight Legs. They refuse to be referred to as spiders. It's basically heresy. It's racist.
Yes, racist.
It's, yeah. The humans are the two legs. So I guess the subtle implication there is 8 leg is greater than 2 leg.
Yeah.
So y'all are bitches now. And it's all because the Doctor stole that crystal once upon a time. That unhinged the events just enough that the Great One wants to develop her mental prowess even further. Mm-hmm. And the thing to fix it, it turns out, end the cycle, is that one shard that's missing. The perfect shard, she calls it. So it's a bit like the Dark Crystal.
It is essentially. The fact that it says, they say that 8 legs is greater than 2, does that mean 4 legs is greater than 2 legs? So the sheep are more important than the people?
Well, the spiders certainly think the sheep and the people are equal, don't they?
Sheeple.
Because they eat the sheep. The people breed the sheep and give them to the spiders as tribute.
It's shocking.
But the spiders do apparently have a preferred taste for 2-leg flesh, but they don't indulge in it unless it's a punishment to make a point.
Yeah. Like Shelob.
So that's going on Metabilis 3.
It's not really like Shelob. It's just
the reason we find out about that is because there is a Buddhist retreat that Yates is in.
Mm-hmm.
We return to Yates because he's seeking treatment after the events of Green Death and Invasion of the Dinosaurs,
Mm-hmm.
and he's noticed something's funny. So he knows that the brig or the doctor might not listen to him, so he invites Sarah Jane along. He's like, "You're a journalist. You can write about this. Come on, write a piece. I've told them that a
Your
journalist
mic is open.
I've told them that a journalist is coming to examine the place, and
Yeah.
you can tell me that I'm not wrong and that things are strange here."
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some weird shit going on downstairs. John Dirth plays Lupton, who is, as we find out, his backstory's great. He was a businessman who worked his arse off for 25 years and has never got anywhere and then was dropped.
Yeah.
And in turn has decided, right, well, I read into this sort of stuff. I know that if I can get hold of this crystal and harness this power, like this supposed thing, through these like shamanic rituals, I can use that and kill anyone who's ever bothered me. I could take the company, I could take the city, I could take the country, and he's just like, oh shit. And not because he wants to rule the universe, because he just wants to stick it to the people who screwed him over. So he's a great sort of like human baddie, and he teams up with one of the spiders from Metebelis that comes through the summoning and latches itself to his back and then seemingly disappears. But the two minds are one. So they sort of like conspire with each other, they torture each other when one of them's out of line by using the mental abilities. He shoots lightning from his hands. That's going on. He's got his subordinates who sort of follow him and are kind of trying to be part of the plan but don't really believe in it.
And he's got a dope singing voice.
Does he?
Body, body,
and then there's
that tune.
there's John Kane as Tommy, who's sort of, he's a member of the house, but he's sort of the janitor, the caretaker.
Yeah.
He's like, they never obviously go into it, but it's clear that he's sort of on the autism spectrum, and he's very much not progressed beyond the learning age of like 5, and he's really kind-hearted, and he's distracted by pretty sort of sparkly things, and he sort of grows privy to the plan later. The place is run by an abbot whose name is Canpo.
Hey, Abbott.
Played by George Cormack, who we only meet toward the very end. And it's run by his sort of his assistant / helper Cho Jae, who's played by Kevin Lindsay. This guy again coming back for a second bite at the apple this series.
Nice.
Cho Jae's very sort of archetypal Buddhist, spiritual mountain man, Tibetan character.
Slightly offensive.
Maybe. I'm not Tibetan. I don't know if it is. Because he doesn't put on a strong accent, and they don't use.
It's not the accent; it's the makeup.
Well, they don't. They don't try
He's
to
got
make
a heck of a lot of makeup on there.
True, but like maybe it's just a. I don't know.
It's not.
I don't know. I think it's. I think the reason it bothers me less is because the worst is yet to come, my dear.
I know.
The worst will rend your flesh. So, oh Christ! I can't wait for that one. Buddhist monastery, connection to another planet, evil stuff going on with giant spiders. What did you think of Planet of the Spiders, me old son?
I enjoyed it. I especially enjoyed the extra long chase sequence that had zero to do with the story.
In episode 2?
Yeah, what's his name? The
Lupton
steals
the Hoomobile.
He steals the Hoomobile
in its second appearance,
and everybody jumps in Bessie trying to get hold of him, except the Doctor, because he gets in a little single person helicopter thing to scout him out from the sky, and then what's his name again? Lupton gets hold of a boat, and the Doctor gets hold of a hovercraft. It's like, what the hell is going on?
Which we learned from the behind the scenes that John is we knew John was a big vehicle aficionado. But the reason that was in it is because Barry Letts, the producer and the script editor, he said, like, are you going to this motor show this weekend? I can't make it. He's like, yeah. He says, go to stand something. There's something I think you'll like. And Barry went, and it was this hovercraft. Mm-hmm. He was like, that's really cool. And John had said to him, maybe think about it for the show. So he asked the owner, he's like, would you mind if we feature this in an episode of Doctor Who? And I was like, yeah, be my guest. Like, we'll arrange a fee and everything. Let's do it. This and the other.
It looked very cool.
It looks super cool.
He drives over a man.
He does. That's funny.
And the man is fine.
That's funny. Like, he just drives over like it feels like a character from a 30s comedy show. Yeah. It's like he's like a hobo having a picnic in the middle of a field.
You're expecting him to come out flat.
Yeah.
and kind of swing in the breeze like that.
Remember me, Eddie?
No, I knew you'd bring that up. Sorry.
So...
But all in all, they end up back at the retreat. And because what's his name? Lupton
iced tea.
Damn it. Lupton and the spider disappear and appear back at the retreat, and it's kind of like, why didn't you just do that in the first place? Because
it's Jon's last story and they want to give him a chase sequence.
And he's loving it. He's loving it.
It's like nearly 15 minutes of episode 2 is dedicated to this multiple vehicle chase.
The Hoomobile flies.
Yes, it flies at the end. It flies
because Lupton got hold of the little helicopter.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know how to drive this thing. And the spider was like, I'll take the wheel.
Yeah.
Doesn't really say
it's
that.
It's like, I got this. Puts on little shades. grabs the sticks and just starts.
There's no reason for it.
It's great.
None, and I loved it.
Barry Letts co-wrote this one and directed it. It's credited to Robert Sloman, but we found out the behind the scenes that Barry Letts co-wrote this one, and it was more of a Barry Letts script than a Robert Sloman one, but he couldn't be credited to it because he was the script editor and the producer, so he had to sort of toe the line in terms of the credits, but he also directed this serial because he wanted to direct at least one of Jon's stories before Jon left.
Yeah.
And you can tell that this one is made with so much love for the team.
Definitely.
The second half of the second episode is just a prolonged, let's let Jon ride every vehicle he's ever wanted to.
Let's find all the
vehicles
we can and put them in the episode.
Liz is in this, I think, more than she's any of the previous, apart from Time Warrior. Sarah Jane is the secondary running plot in this. Her investigation, she gets as much screen time, which I think is a hugely wise decision, because you have to get your young viewers really used to Sarah Jane, because she's going to be our eyes and ears into the new version of the show in one story's time. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that this one really boosts her role up. I think Liz does a really good job in this.
Yeah.
I think getting to play obviously two sort of characters as well, because at one point she's
taken over by
the Queen Spider. I think we don't get to see enough of Benton, but it's nice when he pops up. We don't get to see enough of the Brigadier, but it's quite nice. You do see
enough of Benson, though.
Oh God,
Benson's in it a lot.
Yates gets a really good arc in this, considering he thought he was leaving the show. It's like, go on, you can have one more.
Sorry, spoilers. Don't listen to this next bit if you want to watch it. Does he die?
Who?
Yates.
No. Not that I can recall. No, when he gets zapped in the basement.
Yeah.
No, he recovers. Because Cho Jae, makes sure he's alright. That's after we find out who Cho Jae is, remember? Yeah. Because the Doctor eventually meets the abbot of the monastery, and he recognises him. Turns out, he's, as previously mentioned earlier in the serial, the teacher from Gallifrey that the Doctor admired.
Yeah.
He hated the planet, he hated its ways, it's why the Doctor took a shine to him, and it's why he took a shine to the young version of the Doctor. Mm-hmm. And he left. He didn't steal a TARDIS. He just beelined for Earth, went to Tibet, became a monk, and has been living out this regeneration happy.
Yeah.
But he's coming to the end of his life, at least the end of this life, and he reveals it sort of sets up an episode early to remind kids who'd grown up with just this version of the show, to set them up for the idea of regeneration. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think this is the first time it's called regeneration.
Yeah.
And it turns out Cho Jae isn't even real. Cho Jae is a projection, like an astral and slightly physical projection of the abbot himself. Mm-hmm. Because when he dies, Cho Jae tries to comfort everyone and fades away.
Yeah. And
then the abbot morphs into Cho Jae, who picks up where he left off in the sentence. It's like, oh my God! Did you expect regeneration to be that sort of different? Considering you're a child of the modern era, so to you regeneration has always been
really big, dramatic.
Lights, and then new person.
No, because
or in Nick Capaldi's case, new person, which I always really loved that change.
Yeah, that was cool.
I thought it was nice. It was like, oh, they're going to shake it up, and then they do the exact same type of version.
It's going to be up from here. Oh, no. Anyway, we'll get to that in about 3 years' time. No,
don't forget Class, folks.
We're not watching that, are we?
We'll watch an episode. If people want to know my thoughts on Class, 1, I ain't ever revisiting that entire thing. 2, go listen to the Big Damn Cast episodes about it. We did one called Class Dismissed and Autopsy. So if you search that up, you'll be fine.
I'm not watching Class.
Anyway, we'll watch an episode.
I think we will not watch an episode.
You've never seen it, so you have to watch one.
I will not watch an episode.
It's this journey. So, the idea of regeneration to you has always sort of been the change and then they're a new person.
But I remember ages ago, probably like when we just started living together, I remember you showed me a video of all of the regenerations so far. Somebody had made like a cut of them all.
Like a super cut. Might have been the BBC's channel, actually.
And so I already knew how they were going to happen. And they're all very similar.
Yeah, there's a similarity.
Because it kind of like face fade.
Yeah. Well, Bill into Pat is a fade. Pat we don't see.
We don't see it now.
John's is a fade.
Yeah.
Without going too into detail, Tom's is not. It is, but it's not just there he is, he fades and then he changes. There's another element to it which takes its cues from this story, and specifically the Abbott's regeneration. Then Peter's is sort of a traumatic... Is that why
he's so out of breath?
I'm not quite... ever.
Is he like that for the whole show?
No, but there are breathy moments.
He's a nice warrior.
When he regenerates, it's sort of like a trauma, and you're seeing the hallucinations he's seeing, and then boom, he's a different man. He sits up a different man, and which is great because there's no sort of like moment. He just sits up and he's Colin, and it's like, oh damn, and he's immediately.
That's happened to all of us. Just sat up and Colin,
and he's immediately sassy about it.
Why wouldn't you be?
We don't properly see the regeneration from Colin to Sylvester. We see sort of the end of it.
Right, go.
And it is just sort of like lights, and then he's there.
Mm-hmm.
The 7th to the 8th Doctor, do you remember how that happens? 7th Doctor's dead on a slab in the morgue. He's already dead.
Yeah.
And the face just starts to
just
like morph, and it's really creepy.
Can you please leave her?
So that's different, because the body just sort of, you hear like bones cracking and everything, and it's like, oh! Yeah,
morbidly grim.
And then it's sort of it's almost like they imply that the thing begins with the 8th Doctor because of what we see in Night of the Doctor, that short where he takes the vial, and the idea is like, oh right, this is how it was. But then Capaldi's was different. So it's like, wait, what's the? And also the Master's was the same in Utopia. Anyway,
sorry, I switched off then.
John's regeneration. So it happens because the crystal needs to be returned, but the mountain is full with that much radiation, it will kill anyone who's in there. And John's terrified for 2 reasons. One, the Great One is powerful as sin. And him returning the crystal might actually create the worst thing the galaxy has ever known. Mm-hmm. But he has a suspicion that's not the case once he gets there.
There's such thing as too powerful.
Yeah, he thinks her hubris will kill her. But he's terrified. Mm-hmm. Partially because of the amount of power he's facing. Like, this is possibly the most powerful single foe he's been up against.
It's actually caused him pain.
But also, he's the reason this began.
Yeah.
He's the reason this cycle began in the first place. It's his fault. And this incarnation is a very proud, very like heroic, very assured guy. Mm-hmm. So what would his biggest fear be? Having been wrong and having created evil in the universe. Mm-hmm. He's terrified.
Yeah.
So he says, he faced his fear. Because the Abbot sort of was like, you know what the solution to this is. And you can see sort of like, he doesn't want to go.
Yeah.
Tennant. He doesn't...
No.
But you know, you can see it when he's realising in the Abbot's office, he's like, there's got to be another way. And the Abbot's like, there isn't. He's like, okay. And he sort of accepts it with a quiet dignity, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. It's really well done. Because this Doctor is heroic. He's grumpy, he's short-tempered, but he's also a dashing dandy who will save the day and sword fight and go on a big bloody car chase to get after the villain and wear stupid disguises to break into buildings and offices. Like, he's the heroic lead. He's the first sort of hero of the Doctors, the one who's like, he's built to be the hero. Uh-huh. And suddenly the hero's journey is going to come to an end, and he's terrified about that. And he doesn't know, I don't think they say in this story, but he doesn't know if he'll actually survive this, like if he will regenerate or not. Mm-hmm. But he goes for it, because that's what heroes do. And what did he say in Planet of... It was either... Yeah, it was Planet of the Daleks. No, it was Day of the Daleks, a few seasons ago. He says... courage isn't just a matter of not being scared, it's about being scared and doing what you have to do anyway. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, Minnie's on the floor, it's fine.
Cute.
So he does it. Mm-hmm. The most heroic thing he's ever done is right his own wrong, face his fear, and do it. And he dies. He just manages to get back, although it takes him a while because he gets lost in the vortex, presumably because of his weakened state.
Mm-hmm.
He gets back to unit 3 weeks after the events of the story, and Sarah Jane is like the only one who's sort of holding out hope, isn't she? She's devastated.
Starting to think that he might be gone, though.
And she comes back. That's so beautifully played by Liz. She comes back. She just waits for a moment. She just takes one of his cloaks off of the thing, and she just kind of holds it, standing there, and you're like, oh God, she's really not ready to let go of him, is she? And again, like, they seed it quite well, because the story before this, she thought he was dead, and it was breaking her apart.
Yeah.
So, kudos to...
He nearly died in this one.
Yeah. Well, kudos to Liz in this, especially. Massive kudos to the guy who plays Tommy, because we get a Flowers for Algernon thing, when he... John Kane, we get a Flowers for Algernon thing, where he has the crystal for a time, and its mental abilities, the thing the Doctor wanted to study, the reason he stole it in the first place.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
Like, his IQ shoots up, his anxiety and his condition, like, dissipates. That is played so well.
Really well.
Like,
he didn't know how to read. He was reading a
his mum sends him, like, primary school books to help him.
Mm-hmm. And he was struggling reading it, and then suddenly he knew everything.
That's gorgeous, that scene. So well played.
And then he went to the library and picked out loads of books, didn't he? That was cute.
I loved that. He's great, and I like the fact that he's left ambiguous, but it's implied that it's a happy ending. Yeah. It's implied that he retains like this level of intelligence and is finally everything he wanted to be, and it was denied him just by circumstance. Like, now he's been given a chance, and it's really cool. The whole story's about people being given a second chance.
Yeah.
Right down to the Doctor, like, in two ways, being given a chance to right this wrong that he started, but also as a reward almost, because Choji shows up as like an astral thing and is like, he's not like, he's dying, but his cells are changing. It might take a while, but I will speed up the process. And they're like, when? He's like, well, no time like the present. He sort of does this thing with his hands, and then he bids them goodbye. He says, look after him. He might be a bit erratic. And then he leaves. And the Brigadier's like clued in. He's already mentioned Sarah Jane that he's seen the Doctor with a different face before. And then it's great. She goes, Brigadier, it started, and you see...
You okay?
You hear the noise, and what does the Brigadier say?
No,
you know it. You
not again.
Here we go again.
Here we go again. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just poked the dog.
What do you think of the Doctor's last moments?
I'm so sorry.
Before he passed away.
He didn't finish his sentence, did he?
It's sweet, isn't it? Dear Sarah Jane, no, don't cry. While there's life, there's... dead.
Beans.
While there's life, there's beans. Write in the comments below what you think he was going to say. While there's life, there's... pickled herring!
This dog's feet.
Little dog feet. What do you think of Jon's performance in that scene?
Very good. I feel Jon is an actor that goes all in.
Yeah, he
gave
never
good face.
half-asses ever.
He gave great face in his whole.
He gives good face, does Jon?
He does. Could that be construed as rude? That's not what I meant.
Not at all. He had a very rubbery face, and he knew it, and he took advantage of it.
When he was being like tied up or strangled or something, that was when he shone.
He shone when he was strangled. Jon shone when he was strangled.
And he croon.
Hey,
and I will miss...
Janine, sorry about the bug-eye thing.
Sorry about the bug-eye thing.
Go on, sorry. You will miss Karun.
Yeah, I'll miss his hi.
Yes, a hands-on Doctor who actually beats the crap out of bad guys.
I'll miss it. And his flip.
The new Keto.
He used to flip people. That was great.
Chopping on the back of the necks.
Chopping
right up.
Yeah.
Are you gonna miss Jon Pertwee?
I think I will.
Did you think you were gonna feel this way when we began this part of the journey?
Yeah.
You did.
I don't feel the way that I felt when
little Paddy
left, or Bill. But Bill was sad, but I guess because he was like the first one. But I am sad because he was a fantastic Doctor, He really, really was.
Splendid, chaps. All of them.
He was splendid. So now, but I'm more excited to see where it's going to go now, because Tom is the Doctor that if you say Doctor Who, you think of Tom Baker.
We grew up in the 90s. Whenever Doctor Who was referenced, that we, were able to cognitively understand from a young age. Usually during The Simpsons, let's face it. Whenever Doctor Who was referenced, it was white brim hat, scarf, bug eyes, big teeth.
Yeah.
Like, that was Doctor Who.
Scary is what I thought.
Hello! So, next month for you guys, probably tomorrow for us,
Okay.
we're going to begin the next part of the journey, the longest tenure of any Doctor. I'll ask you more about Sarah Jane next time, because I know that you're sort of lukewarm on her at the moment, mostly because of the bits where they just kind of have her not really doing much.
I think the thing that gets me about Sarah Jane, and lots of characters that do this in anything, she's very she's very dramatic. So when something happens, she goes all out for it, like screaming and the exclamations and like the falling. And of course, that's fantastic. That's acting, that she's doing what she's supposed to. But to me, for some reason, it's just so irritating. Like, that's why I don't like Martha, because she cried all the time.
I don't think you remember Series 3 the way Series 3 actually is.
She was so whiny.
She really wasn't.
She was.
Oh, it's going to be interesting. Okay.
I think,
keep in mind, when Jo first rocked up, you were annoyed that you hadn't had more Liz.
Yeah.
And you were like, she's alright, she's got her moments, but she's a bit sort of scatty and daft.
Yeah, but that was in the first couple of episodes.
True, and then last series, how did you feel when Jo left?
I loved it. Well,
devastated.
Yeah, I was sad. But...
You've not... Here's my case. You've not met Sarah Jane yet.
Okay.
You've met Sarah Jane, and you see flashes of how good Liz can be and how different that character can be in this series. She and Jon had really fun chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
That chemistry cranks up to 11 next series, and particularly the series after that. The series after that, it's the Doctor and Sarah Jane.
Yeah. For
the majority of the series.
That's what I'm hoping.
And they are so much fun together.
Yeah. I
think your opinion of her is going to change.
I'm hoping it will.
Is there anything you want to say to Jon before we sign off?
Goodbye, Jon. You were the best around.
You what?
You were the best around.
Nothing's going to ever keep it down. You're the best around. No more Bessie? Well, one more Bessie.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Because someone else is going to take a ride in Bessie. Next time, boys and girls, it mother trucking begins.
Oh my God.
Say goodbye to Jon.
Bye, Jon.
And what do you say to Tom?
Hello.
Hello!
God, I think you wrote the neighbours.
Goodbye, my dears!